And I just say, oh, come on, you guys, come on.
They even want to introduce their law into American law.
Oh, of course, Sharia law.
Right.
Yes, and they're trying to do it in London. They're trying to do it in France.
So
you need to read Sam Harris, The End of Faith. That's exactly what he's talking about. By being tolerant, the religious people who are too tolerant and allowing all this other stuff come in because they want to be tolerant, that will be their downfall. And the downfall of the whole society. In that, if you feel Sharia law, stoning women if they're doing certain things or whatever, if that's the end you want for the well-being of our people, fine. If you don't want that, that's why I would never want a Chinese communist government to be here. I fear the Chinese a lot. I probably fear the Chinese as much as you do. No, really, because they're very, very strong, very capitalistic, even though they're not supposed to be. They're very capitalistic. Right. And money, they have a money god. Well, anybody who has a money god, you kind of look and say, hey, come on, guys, you know? And if they want to come in and take you over, of course they own the United States anyway, basically. They could take us over in a minute if they wanted to. But the point is, I'm very afraid of the Chinese in many ways because, and their conservation. They kill seahorses, they kill deer for the velvet, they kill tigers, they kill bears for the bile. Give me a break, people. This is why I fear, you know, if you watch people and how they treat their animals and how they treat their land, you hear 10,000 people dying because they cut all the trees down. They had a land, not an erosion, a huge erosion, corruption, you know, frozen, and 10,000 people died because there's nothing to hold the soil. We want these people to be here, but we deal with them. And so I would rather deal with a Danish person. They're the happiest people in the world. They can go to school as long as they want to. Their children are taken care of. Husband and wife can alternate work. They have the true well-being of human beings. And they're still smart, and they still try to solve problems. And they have the highest amount of wind power. They're taking our wind power and they took it all and they're manufacturing. We're buying it back from them.
But I think the U.S. government, they do a lot of...
God help its soul. Yes.
Really. They hurt so many people.
They what?
Around the world.
They what?
The
US
government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does what?
Hurt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're imperialists. No, we're imperialists just as the Chinese are imperialists. And Britain used to be imperialist. And the Netherlands and Portugal and Spain, they all went through it.
I think the Christianity phase will change the Chinese government.
The what will? The what will change?
He hopes the Christianity can change government.
Well, look,
we don't know.
I wish it would not be. I wish it would not. See, we don't need another religious state.
Yeah.
Israel is a religious state. We've had all kinds of problems. Pakistan was an original state. Gandhi was broken-hearted when they wanted their own state. He wanted people to live together.
Yeah.
Pakistan was a sword through his heart. And look what they're doing now.
So
all because of religion. It drives me nuts. Look what they did in Ireland. Christians killing each other like that. Look at what they've done in Sri Lanka with the Buddhists and the Hindus. Religion we need to get rid of. What we need is we need to take all the good parts of religion, the humanistic parts, the spiritual parts, and don't have anything where you've got to have a Jesus or a Muhammad or someone who is a human. Forget the humans. Let's just have a spiritual feeling and break away from all that and say what is the good for the well-being of all people, and we sit down and look at it. Now, a humanist named Grayling, he was on Colbert. Do you know Colbert and Jon Stewart? Comedy Channel. You don't listen to Jon Stewart? Oh God, you're missing. He's wonderful. He's a terribly wonderful comedian, and he just butchers the news.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we listen to him every single night. I couldn't be without Jon Stewart. He's wonderful. But Colbert was one of his people. He had a man on named Grayling, who has written a book called The Good Book, and it's a humanist book about religion. And I'm going to get it. The Good Book by Grayling. He's the editor. take it and take a look and see what he says. He may have things, because he's not, there's no axes to grind. There's no theology to grind. That's why Thomas Jefferson wanted theology. He said theology is just, is propaganda. He didn't want it. He wanted to get away. It was useless, he said. Theology is useless. What he wanted to do was the humanity of all people. And even though he had slaves, he still saw ahead. But he was stuck. Like I say, having an automobile is the most horrible thing in the world. But would I get rid of it right away? No. How would I be able to function? Yeah. He couldn't function without the slaves because that was his motor. So they were stuck. George Washington was stuck. He freed his slaves when he died. Thomas Jefferson freed the slaves, but he also died in poverty. Many other people. But John Adams, okay, John Adams, you know him, second president. Yeah. Thomas Jefferson was the third president. Oh, okay. Adams was a Quaker from Massachusetts, where you're going, and he hated all this stuff. And you know what it was? It was North and South Carolina. When they came in as the 13 colonies, they made the North accept slavery. Thomas Jefferson didn't want slavery. He wanted to abolish it. He tried in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, but North and South Carolina wouldn't join. If I'd been Thomas Jefferson, I would have said, fine, join later. We're going to write this and join later. And my other thought is that the South of the United States is a very different nation. They're a different mentality, a different nation. They're very unhappy with the North. They gripe about the North all the time. They want their Confederate flag all the time. Let them break away. Let them have a new country called the Southern United States, and let them break away, and we'll be good trading partners. There'll be no civil war, because our civil war was terrible. Thousands and thousands of people killed. Let them break away and have their own religious people and fanatics and all the rest of it. And I don't want another president to come from the South. I'm tired of it. And I have maps in my van. I have maps of which states I would leave in, and which, it's very difficult. Do you leave Missouri in or out? What do you do with Kansas? What do you do with Texas? You know, Alabama and all those, Louisiana, gone. All the things you hear that are people killing each other and whatever, they're always generally in the South. Not always, but let them go. Let them go.
Should we have lunch?
I'm having lunch right now. This is wonderful.
I'm so hungry.
No, but you see, I struggle with this stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's good.
It's very, very hard. Very hard. And I have no problems about criticizing where I live as well. And especially here. But I listen to the world news, and I try to extrapolate from here to other things so that I can say, oh, well, you know, I don't feel that's quite right or whatever.
Okay, allow me to translate a portion.
Okay.
Do a digest.
Your poor university.
Professor Frank 刚刚他是提到说，他认为 religion 造成了很多的纷争困难，因为 religion 设定了很多的
I'm trusting you now
设定了很多的这个规条，比方说他就说像在以色列even 现在妇女坐 bus 一定要坐到后面，那有一个美国妇女去了不知道坐到前面，结果还被诉到法院去。那他是认为说这些不必要的这种宗教的规矩，往往是造成社会上很多的问题来源。那他也举出其他的例子，他说为什么这个美国第3任总统 Jefferson 他会认为圣经中这个福音书他把一些部分取消掉，因为他认为那些都是人为的错误。当然他也提出很多批评，比方说因为他不相信有上帝这一回事，所以他认为像但以理书可能是一个只是一个传说，而不是有真的事情。那就当然可以容许有神学家可以出来做一些辩护，我们在这里就不多讲。可是他同时认为说，人是很复杂的，我们可以过着一个这个跟我们理念不相合的生活。比方说，这个美国第3任总统杰弗森他写的这个独立宣言，他相信人类一切平等，可是他同时还有奴隶。他说这是因为我们活在一个复杂的状况里面，他如果没有奴隶，他就没有办法 行使他当时的职权和工作，就好像他现在必须要用车子，可是车子在他看来是一个不好的事情，可是他如果没有车子，他就不能够做很多的事情，所以我们是活在一个很复杂的一种这种状况中间，我们只好这样子过。可是那并不表示那件事情是对。那他提到2本书，一个是一个叫做 Harris 写的一本，就是宗教
Sam Harris
写的一本书，这个宗教的这个所带来的这个在世界上的一些冲突，他是认为说没有宗教反而会使得这个世界更和平，但是并不表示说人不需要有这个精神生活，他是认为应该把宗教中间的这个属于精神层面、属灵层面的要拿出来，但是宗教科学层面的、追求事实层面的应该要保留。那我设法跟他讲到说，其实基督教这个或者是天主教的基本精神仍然是这样追求那个真实的那一面真理，但是保有那个属灵的那个层面。那在过去2000年来这个历史中间一再证明，圣灵的确是这样子带领教会，不管是在哪个地方都有圣灵的工作在做改变人心。所以他的观点说，我们需要有人文的这个人性的一面，要有关怀这个环境，关怀人类，关怀弱势，但是我们不应该把这个宗教的这种规矩强加进去，这是他的大体的意思。当然他也提到他对一些天主教、基督教各方面的一些不同的看法和批评呢，我们就听，然后我们来反省我们自己该怎么做。OK。